So, welcome back to the Chinook build. Got a couple of updates for you, and as you can see there's lots of other bits and pieces added to the fuselage, so I want to go through that with you. Also a couple of things that I found out the hard way. First and foremost, the undercarriage legs. They tell you to put the undercarriage legs on quite early on in the build. Obviously they're prone to getting knocked off, as is that one there. That got knocked off. Pain in the proverbial that, but that can be fixed. It's not impossible to fix. In my last video I talked about the fit of the underside here, and again just trying to get this edge here lined up, so that's now sort of done. There's a bit of clean up I've got to do on this corner here. That'll be done shortly. These sides have now all been stuck in place, but it's an absolute peak to try and get this to go level. It keeps fighting its way back out, but I go back in and realign that, and of course can't put all of that, stick all of that in place because the tailgate door fits in there, so I've had to leave that section fairly loose to allow the fitting of the tailgate door. That's all ready to go. Now I've just completed the paintwork on that, and of course I haven't got that with me, so that's all done. Bit of weathering, bit of finish on that. I need to put some matte some matte varnish on that, just to tone that down because it's still a bit shiny. That has to be done. When that's done, that can be fitted into place. It still remains to tidy up these parts and get those painted. But then I want to now talk about the additional parts and the antenna. Now, excuse me, it's not COVID, thankfully. They tuck these additional parts in, and the antenna, and these are, I think these are parts of the lifting mechanism, the winching, other winch points, and all of these antenna here. And then if we go through, that's the other option built. I'm not interested in that. And the other thing is adding these additional parts, things like these antenna and stuff like that. Don't want to do that at this stage. On principle, what I tend to do is add the things that can't get knocked off easily. So things like these little parts here, these parts, these quite solidly fitted now. I left those for a day or so to really cure off, and then there's some dressing around the seams here. Use some Mr. Surfacer, and that's just got to be tidied up. And again, things like this. I don't know what this is, but it's in the photos. It's things like that. But it's very important to use your reference photos, I think, because the locations that are given by Italeri are quite random, I think. Having said that, looking at reference photos, a lot of Chinooks seem to be slightly different in slightly different ways. There are certain things that are fixed and other things that aren't, and it would be interesting actually to pick a particular vehicle and do the additional parts exactly as that vehicle is in operation. But that's a lot of research, and I'm not particularly that into Chinooks to warrant carrying out all of that sort of research. And they're still operational vehicles, so it's difficult to get to. The other thing that I noticed on on the instructions was the positioning of these items here and there. Now, on one section, where is it? Section 14, it would have you put these parts on that area there. On this part, this section, it would have you put the same items but in a different position there. Now, this is an access panel. These were not fitted to those access panels. That is incorrect. So looking at the reference photographs that I have on this side, I followed the Italeri instructions originally and had them fitted there and there. After I did it, I followed the instructions. I should have checked my references. You know, learn from your own mistakes. But they're actually there and there on some of the reference photos I've got. So they had to come off of here. So this was repaired and given and sanded back and filled with Mr. Surfacer. Same on the other side. They're actually there and there. So, and that was on one particular vehicle, and I'm sort of going back to one particular vehicle to get my references, and that's where they are. So that's a pretty poor representation, I think, by Italeri. The other thing was the fit of this base here. This very, very poor curvature. Sanded it back as much as I could, but it's still difficult to fit. And again, I've had to fill that, and that needs, you know, needs dressing. And then the next part is fitting the engine parts in there and these covers. Now, I've actually painted these covers because I wanted to sort of see how they fitted and highlighted the difference there. And I was also testing the colour of the paint. But that fit there, yeah, great fit at the bottom. Bit of a faff around there, so that's going to need some work there. But that's an atrocious fit. Absolutely awful. And that is going to require some plastic card and some filling to get that to look anything like what it should do. I mean, it should pull over there, but if it pulls over there, you've got a massive gap here. This one's in a fairly good position, but again, you've got a massive gap. So that's not a very good, they're not very good at all. So they're going to require a lot of work. So if you're building this, you know, you've got some work to do with that. That's pretty much where we are at the moment, apart from the rotors. He says quickly going and grabbing one from the other side of the workshop. So these are the rotors. They've been pegged overnight, so that they get a good fit. I followed the instructions, bit of a frog in the throat one. Followed the instructions there and there, and the first thing that became apparent was, apart from the numbers, that drawing and that drawing are exactly the same. It's even, you know, it's not even one of those drawings where you spot the difference. They're actually exactly the same drawing. Now, that means that you get led to the wrong configuration of the rotors, the rotor assembly and the arms. So, ignore the numbers, find that part and that part, so 17B and 16B. 16B is on the rear, 17B is on the front, and then assemble the rotor arms, how they match the particular rotor. I don't know what that middle part's called, but whatever it's called. And you'll see that it does come together as quite a good fit. I did spray them first before I assembled them because I wanted to get a good good colour in there. But what I will do is make sure the joins are good, go in, dress the joints, give it a new coat of paint and give it some weathering. Not a lot, because this is an operational vehicle. And one of the things you find is that operational vehicles are usually fairly clean, especially the mechanical flying parts, the parts that enable the flying. Because if it's dirty, not working well, or leaking oil, all that sort of thing, it gets replaced. If there's a gasket that needs replaced, it gets replaced. These are parts of the checks that the pilot will make before they take off. And if he spots things like that, then this machine goes out of commission and goes into the hangar and gets worked on. You're not going to fly, I don't know, 30 troops out into a combat zone in a machine that potentially has problems. So yeah, it's only a small amount of weathering there, just to give it some colour depth, really. So the rotors are done, they can sit aside. Bloody massive. But apart from that, progress is being made, and catch up with you at another time. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.